Good evening, I'm Tiffany Neely and this is CNS News. Tonight we'll bring you stories of interest, compassion, and science from around the Bay Area. It's no secret that the economy has seen better days, but we found some businesses that seem to be adapting pretty well. In San Francisco, cars with mustaches take on taxis. Reporter Marta Franco has that story. Hello, I'm Tiffany Neely and welcome to CNS. During this edition, our reporters bring you up close to the faces and issues of your neighbors near and far. Through their stories, we bring facts, voices, and conflict while hoping you gain an understanding you may not have had before. Over 50 people participated in today's event, including students, teachers, guidance counselors, and even some government officials. Planet Fitness says that before the grand opening, already over 5,000 people had signed up for pre-sale membership. They say they're pleasantly surprised by the high number in comparison to other grand opening locations. The AHA also says that 89% of these attacks are fatal because victims don't receive CPR right away.
There's not a lot of people coming and going, and the ones that are coming and going are students, and everybody's like pretty much oblivious to what somebody else is doing. They don't care.
This is Stephen Rivera James, a media studies major at UC Berkeley. He enjoys computer programming, going to the gym, and spending time with friends. Most of these friends have no idea that for months Rivera was homeless. This was where he slept, a study room in Soda Hall.
I didn't think it was going to be that hard. I kind of underestimated it because, I grew up poor, so I was like, the next step is being homeless. So it's not that big of a deal. But yeah, it actually was pretty difficult.
Difficult even though Rivera doesn't fit into the classic description of homeless.
Another kind of homelessness, which is also quite serious but is less visible, is people who have to float from couch to couch, depending on their friends or family members.
Bob Offer Westort is an associate director at YAY, a homeless shelter in Berkeley specifically for young adults. He says that seeing homeless college students does happen, but it doesn't always look the way some expect.
Most Cal students who are homeless, I think, have enough of a social network through Cal that they're depending on those relations. So we see fairly few of them in the shelter.
Rivera says that's his routine when he wasn't staying in the study hall.
I tried not to stay at friends' places for too long because I didn't want to overstay my welcome. Because they're doing me the favor, so I don't want to take advantage. So I had a friend, she was holding all of my stuff, and in my book bag, I would store at least like 3 or 4 days of clothing, and then whenever I would run out, I would just go back. As far as showering went, I would just go to different people's houses, like whenever I could.
It's not something you hear very often, and there's a reason for that.
I think there's a lot of shame associated with homelessness. There shouldn't be. I mean, people are homeless because they can't afford rent. Rents in Berkeley are pretty insanely high. Tuition is very, very high. It shouldn't be a shameful issue, but it is one in our society.
Rivera had the grades, work ethic, and financial need to qualify for scholarships, and he took out loans to cover the gap. But in the summer of 2012, he couldn't cover his rent.
When I went to financial aid, I had asked for some help, but they didn't really offer me any.
Why couldn't Rivera get help? Financial aid officials here at Berkeley didn't want to go on camera, but they did tell me that he could have applied for private loans. But with Rivera's credit, chances were slim that he would qualify. He could also have applied for unsubsidized federal loans, but he didn't want to burden his parents with more debt.
Growing up, I was kind of poor, and I just didn't want to stress my mama out any more than she already was with the loans we've already taken out and with the bills she already has.
His last resort was to look outside the university for scholarships.
I could have probably applied for scholarships or like some sort of loan, but at the time it was really last minute. I didn't really know of any scholarships available.
It's tough for out-of-state students like Rivera, who's originally from Florida. Tuition fees add more than $22,000 to a student's budget. For those on the brink, there's not much help available.
We've actually done a fair bit to help people with paying for entry examinations, with tuition for some certificate classes, and for accessing textbooks. Other things that I know of are pretty scarce. The resources are very scarce.
Right now, Rivera's a squatter in an empty dorm room in an undisclosed location on campus getting ready for graduation. But the experience of living as a homeless student taught him a lot.
Made me realize what like all the homeless people out here go through every day. And like that's that I actually had like, it wasn't a real home, but I had like a roof over my head at least. I couldn't even imagine how bad it is for people who are actually sleeping on the street.
This is Tiffany Neely reporting. These college men and women are part of Berkeley's Reserve Officer Training Corps, or ROTC. The Department of Defense new rule allowing women into higher risk combat zones may apply directly to them.
What are you guys doing? What are you guys doing?
Fourth-year Leah Woods earned a full ride to Berkeley when she joined the Army ROTC. She will go on to serve active duty after graduation.
We have females serving everywhere, inserted into specific jobs. I think it's not going to be as earth-shattering as a lot of people think.
In fact, modern military strategies already expect every soldier, male and female, to be prepared for combat. But the new rule allows women to occupy higher ranking positions in combat zones.
They're giving the females a greater equal opportunity to be soldiers, sailors, airmen, Marines, whatever the case may be, across the board.
The new policy opens up more leadership positions for women, but it's not yet clear how many women, including the officers in training here, will take advantage of the opportunity.
Even here, there's only one other senior with me. She's already branched to combat arms, which field artillery has kind of been leading the way in trying to insert females into different positions. So she's already kind of had that on her mind.
Staff Sergeant Jorge Hermosillo says many soldiers are concerned about women being a distraction in the field. He says it will take time to adapt.
Honestly, I think that's going to be a learning curve. I try and make it a point with all of my soldiers to say, I am your brother, you are my sister. I'm going to treat you as that. Because when we go into harm's way, I need to count on you as my sister. You need to count on me as your brother. We're all in this together.
Together with the men, women could work as combat medics or officers in special operation units. This is Tiffany Neely, CNS News. For decades, the East Bay Vivarium has been selling exotic snakes like this female Burmese python to almost anyone who wants one.
First thing you should do with any big snake when you're going in is let them know you're coming. So I always like to come along to the back end and just kind of, hi, wake up, good morning.
Owen Merricks owns the vivarium. He says anyone thinking of buying a large snake needs to know some snake truths.
Snakes get a horrible rap, absolutely horrible rap. A Burmese python raised in captivity tends to be a very gentle, retiring, taciturn animal. You know, you can tell her what you want to do. She's strong. Yes, she is very strong.
Strong, long, and long-lived, these pythons can grow to 20 feet and live for 45 years. They are shy, but that's not their reputation. The federal government isn't making snake ownership any easier. They've kicked off the Year of the Snake by banning the import of Burmese pythons. And in Florida, they're offering $1,500 in bounties for killing pythons in the Everglades. Why? Because thousands of these snakes have invaded the Florida Everglades. Snake scientist Alex Crone says there may be as many as 100,000 of them running wild there.
We suspect that it was from people actually releasing their pet Burmese pythons when they got too big into the wild, and also during hurricanes, when hurricanes would knock over pet stores and release these pythons into the wild.
The federal snake ban has also hurt businesses at the vivarium. It's now illegal to transport those snakes from across state lines.
That means I can still sell one here within California, but I couldn't sell one to somebody in Nevada.
The Chinese New Year may be just what's needed to teach people to love, not fear, large snakes.
The Chinese New Year is a big celebration across the world, and the fact that this is the year of the snake could help.
For CNS News, this is Tiffany Neely. I'm Tiffany Neely. Thanks for joining us tonight. See you for the next edition of CNS News.